Welcome to Seth's Daily Podcast. Without you guys, this wouldn't be possible. I want to thank you guys for subscribing. We're blessed enough to have an interview with UFO hunter, uh, also author Russ Kellett, all the way from the UK. How are you doing tonight, man?
Hi, Seth. Not too bad. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. And for the people wondering out there why I say uh, hopefully he's having a good night, because over in the UK it's night time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's not too bad. It's not too bad today. It's a bit blustery, windy, and yeah, not too bad.
Yeah, it's pretty cold over here, man.
Yeah, it's here.
Yeah, yeah, it's cold, man. But there's a lot going on right now.
Yeah. Well, you could say so. Yeah,
Yeah, I
a
mean,
hell of a lot going on.
yeah, the United States possibly shot down a UFO. That's what I've heard.
Well, which one? When you just let me just turn my sound up. Let me just hang on. Right, that's better. So, which UFO are we referring to?
I'm not sure that's the only information they've gave. They shot it down, I believe, in Alaska.
Yeah, because I think President Trudeau is it had been on earlier and come out with an announcement. Um, I'm going to say I can't do what I'm going to do. We're just going to go look on the internet then. But yeah, so we've got Trudeau's come out with an announcement. We had the strange occurrence of this balloon which just meandered all around America for days, and then sort of like they decided to do something about it. You just don't know what has it done. You know what I mean? It could have been releasing all sorts of poison or gas or bugs. You know what I mean? It could be, you know, a vehicle for releasing viruses. You know what I mean? So they decided to shoot it down when it's been, over their days. And now we've got another incident where I think in Canada where we've got something that's been shot down. Um, the problem is, and this is a problem, there's something called a D notice, a defence notice, what all media has. In fact, not only media has something called a defence notice, you can be served with a defence notice. Even if you're not in the media. For instance, if you know something that could harm, the defence or cause problems, that what they say is you sign this agreement, which is a statement saying that you will not tell anybody about whatever it is that the government are asking you to hold back. You know what I mean? It's not only UFOs; it could be anything. Anything with a sensitive issue. And believe me, it has been spoken about before. There's been all sorts of things withheld. You know, we're talking about, it's going to show the government in a bad light. Yeah. So, you think about it, it could be anything. I mean, at the moment, there's been things spoken about, like, for instance, this child sex ring, right? Sort of like there's been D notices clamped on this. It's been going on for 50 years, and people are not allowed to talk about what's going on in this country, in England, in some of the towns up and down the United Kingdom. So that's just one thing that we know about. So something like a UFO, that has been shot down, are they going to come clean about that? If they're not going to come clean about these sex gangs, basically raping young children in a lot of the cities in the United Kingdom, sort of like, I don't think they're going to let something like a UFO that's been shot down, sort of like into the news, are they?
No, they're not going to.
And I mean, look what happened, sort of like everybody that I know, sort of like looks at America and has said what happened in America, sort of like with people, sort of like breaching security in the White House. They said it was a sham. A lot of people in my country just turn around and says, somebody has taken over your country. Your country is not run by an American president. There's no doubt that somebody, fixed, that rigged those votes. There's no doubt about it. And there's clandestine operations going on. So when you know that, and you've only got to look in my country, sort of like to see what's going on over here, to know that there is, we don't have a future at the moment. People do not have a future, because the governments are run by businessmen. That's all. It's all businessmen. They're all millionaires. Most of these people in politics now are millionaires, and that's a problem. So, getting back to the UFO thing, it's a case of, one of the things what they're looking for is this technology, and any time they can get their hands on this UFO technology, it's a case of they'll try to get it, because what they're saying is whoever holds the key to this technology, right, holds the key to, the best arms that there is on the planet. It's super technology. So what they're saying is, if you do come in contact with a UFO, the best thing to do is shoot it down, and then grab hold of that technology and then back engineer, because you will have a upper hand then on anybody around the world. But the thing is, this has happened before. There's the Nazis, sort of like in 1936, they were supposed to have got their hands on a saucer in 36. I think in 1936 as well, there was an incident where the Russians had a flying saucer in their possession as well. There is a school of thought that says that England, they had their hands on alien technology. And I know for certain, I think it was in 1945. I think it was in 1945. No, it could have been 1940. Hang on, 1945. Yeah, it could have been 1945. The back end of the war in England, we had a flying saucer land in England. So, it's a case of, it would seem that there's been a lot of crafts land over the years. So, it just makes you wonder if there's been this big rush forwards, to sort of like grab all this information, this technology,
Definitely, man. And I know you were saying in a previous interview we done, but all these other countries have alien soldiers, right?
Oh hell yeah, yeah. Well, from my point of view, being in this unit, a mega unit, and we've come across quite a number of alien races. And the thing is, those alien races have allies. Some are from other planets, some are from this planet. And on some occasions, you could come into contact with a race of aliens that have maybe two or three allies from one country. You might have, say, for instance, you might have an alien grey, a form of alien grey in America that's working alongside the Americans, you know. But then again, you might have maybe one of the blue aliens working again with people from America, and then you might have one of the Drago races, these tall, half human, half dragon, 15-foot tall. You might have them as well. You will have them, and I know for certain you will have them working alongside the Americans. So that's free. That and I could swear that there's free, like, different alien races working alongside the Americans. It might be even more now, because you remember this has happened to me a long time ago when I was first taken. And my memory is not as good as it used to be, and I haven't been taken for some time now, so things have changed. So it just makes you wonder, just what is happening. Just what is happening. It is a worry, to be quite honest, and especially um, when we're getting this information now coming forward, where people are saying that there's been another flying saucer shot down. It's a case of is this the start of an invasion? Because I mean, the thing is, these things have repercussions, don't they? There's always a repercussion. If there's something, that's been shot down, you can be sure that, there's whoever, whoever that craft belongs to, they're not going to take that lightly, are they? So, are they going to come looking for retribution? I'm sure I would be.
They probably will.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's no doubt about it. So it's just a matter of time now. Sort of like before something happens. Should say. But I mean, I said 3 years ago, if you can remember, I told people, that had been taken. We'd been dropped behind enemy lines, which were into Eastern Europe. If you remember, this is going back 3 years ago, and talking about lifting somebody, from the borders there, and this was Russia, sort of like, and this was 3 years ago when I was talking about this. And I said that there were a war coming. I said, but it's going to be a strange sort of war, because it's more like a civil war, because there's problems break out in our countries surrounding, this whole premise of sort of like aliens, and some people would call it New World Order. Or is it a case of an alien world order? because believe me, you know, sort of like the aliens have got technology, and you know, I have seen the Chinese fighting alongside the blue aliens, and their technology is unbelievable, you know. So it's a big worry. It is a big worry, you know, like what is going to happen next. I don't even think it's started properly yet anyway, you know. So we'll just have to see.
Yeah, it's definitely some scary stuff.
Yeah.
And I know you also got your podcast going on as well. It's a good listen.
Well, yeah, I haven't been around for 3 weeks. I had problems with my computer. I had problems with me. Somebody I don't know must have hacked my computer, and all my settings were all over the place. And it took my friend Les Durant. It took him quite a few days to sort things out for me. You know, which you know the question why do people persist in doing this? You know what I mean? And someone just turned around and said it's because they're jealous. They don't want you to you know let people know what's going on. Well, you know, sort of like get ready because now it's working. I'll be back on it. You know, having said that, sort of like at the same time as well, I must admit, sort of like I was under the weather, unbelievable. You know, sort of like just unbelievable. But this is it. The problem is with having ME, you know, sort of like it's one of these things where, you know, sometimes it gets to grips with you know, and there's nothing you can do about it. You know, there's nothing you can do about it. You just got to just mosey on.
And I seen you as a guest on another guy's podcast as well. That was pretty cool.
Say that again, sorry.
I seen you as a guest on this other guy's podcast too. He's talking about your books and stuff.
Oh, Nick. That would have been Nick's show, yeah. Yeah, I think we've got about 3,000 hits nearly already from last week, you know. Yeah, to be quite honest, I've been doing podcasts as well, you know, sort of like here and there, you know, but sometimes things have happened where people had forgotten that they booked me and then sort of like got back and said, look, can we do it another time? I said, yeah, no big deal. There's no big deal, you know, sort of like I have it's annoying that, you know, sort of like sometimes when you have arranged and they don't let you know until the last minute. I'm talking about, you know, like you're going to be on in half an hour and you contact them and say, you know, like everything okay for, you know, like the show. What show? You know what I mean? Oh, yeah, oh yeah. And these are professional people as well. Some of these are so-called professional people that get paid for having shows. And to be quite honest, you know, sort of like the mind boggles. The mind boggles when you think about it. You think, wow. But anyway, you know, it's just one of them things.
Yeah, man. I understand. I understand what you mean.
I mean, half an hour before, you know, that's abysmal, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
I actually rung one person and I says to her, are you ready for the show? And she says, oh, I thought it would in an hour's time. So I said, okay, well, I'll call you back in an hour. And then she turned around and says, oh, I can't, I've got family here now. How does that work? You know what I mean? Yeah, I've got family here now. Well, will you have him in an hour? Oh, well, yeah. Well, that means that you knew you weren't going to be on my show then, didn't you? You know what I mean? Sort of like, oh, was it tonight? Yeah, you know it was tonight. I don't know. I'm doing a big show. The red carpet. Have you seen it? The
Mm-mm.
Hollywood one. No. Oh, yeah. That's going to be fairly big. So I've been told anyway. Everybody's saying, "Wow, did you get on there, Russ?" You know, sort of like from my good looks and charm.
You're on Discovery Plus too as well, right?
Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
Oh yeah, I'm on Discovery Plus. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet either. You know, it's like, to be quite honest, I think it's pull myself. You know what I mean? I think it's absolute pull. I won't even watch it. That's, you know what I mean? Sort of like, I think I saw 5 minutes of it and I thought to myself, they've got people on that are supposed to be investigators talking about my video footage and they haven't got a clue. They haven't got a clue. You know what I mean? It's like, what the are you doing on that show? You know what I mean? Where the have they pulled you out? They must have pulled you out of a lucky bag. You know what I mean? Sort of like, let's get three numpties talking about a subject they know all about. You know what I mean? Sort of thing. Oh
Yeah.
dear.
Yeah, there's a
No.
lot of shows like that, man. And ghost hunting, there's a lot of
Oh,
nonsense.
listen,
Ghost.
ghost hunting at the moment it's like fever pitch, isn't it? It's like everybody's ghost hunting. Everybody and his dog is out ghost hunting and sort of like for cheap thrills and what have you. You know what I mean? Some of these, if they saw a proper in ghost, they'd shit the pants. You know what I mean? The wood, the pull the knickers. Me included. There's some places, believe me, that you would not get me. There's some places where I would never go, you know?
Yeah, I know what you mean. There's some places I don't want to go either.
No, that is so true. You know, there's one or two places. There's a place called Gary Castle where they was doing a show. This this big show over here, which was called "I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here," and they're not doing it there anymore. They're doing it in Australia, which is a pity, really. But that place, believe me, I'd keep well away. That is one place I would keep well away from. You know, it is. Yeah, it's not a good place. You know, I've heard some stories. My friend used to go there as a child, and he'd seen quite a lot of things. And he said that you know it's bad luck. He wouldn't even go. He wouldn't even go in the place. So it's put me off of going there now. You know, it's sort of like put me off of going there now. So giving it a bit of a wide berth. You know.
Definitely, definitely, man. I don't blame you. There's a place called Waverly Hills here in Kentucky. I won't step foot in.
Really? And what is it? Is it a house or is it an area?
It it's where it's an old hospital where people died from oh, what was that sickness back in the early 1900s? Can't think of it.
Would it be TB?
Yeah, tuberculosis.
TB. Yeah. tuberculosis or something. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, there's supposed to be like some like entity that like crawls up stuff, and it's weird. It's a creepy place.
Wow. No, I think I think I'd give that a miss. I- yeah, I really think I'd give that a miss. There's no doubt about it. You know.
Yeah, definitely. It's creepy, man.
So, have you had any reports of anything, any UFOs over there in America, or
Um, not that I know of here lately. We haven't had
mm,
really much of anything.
no?
Not that I know of in my area, but that would be something I need to ask Junebug. He's a UFO researcher from around here. He would know that answer.
Right. Yeah. I think, to be honest, I mean, it's like I used to run groups, and we'd send out report forms, and we'd go and research. But now I don't know anybody that goes out and research properly anymore. You know what I mean? Everybody just sits back and especially now, I mean, the thing is, if you've got to travel by vehicle, to on an investigation to an area and meet witnesses, sort of like some of these places are about, say, like a couple of 100-mile trip, around journey, and if you've got a big, powerful, vehicle, 4x4, you're looking at sort of like maybe $50, $80, in petrol money. And then if you've got to park your car somewhere, you know, and then of course if you have to get a meal if you're staying over, because some of these places are quite a distance away. So I mean it all adds up onto a bill. And I mean, how many, and if you've got to see more than one witness, and sort of like, so it's taking you, sort of like a day or two. So you've got all that lot to think about, and driving around, and petrol money, and, sort of like food, and you might have to stay out, sort of like, and get board and lodgings, tell us something, or bed and breakfast. And, you know, it's like you could be looking at $100. Well, who's got $100 to throw around these days?
Nobody does, man. Especially here in America.
You know, I mean, it's like I see people charging something like $60 for 4 hours at an haunted house. You know what I mean? So that's a lot of money. It isn't. It isn't, because there's a lot of people that'll spend. There's a lot of people that'll spend. That money. Sort of like going. Sort of like out on a ghost hunt and what have you. You know. But there's a lot of people that can't afford it. A lot of people can't afford it now. You know.
Yeah, gas is going up again here in the U.S.
What is, sorry?
I said gas prices are going back up now.
Well, why? There's no reason why they should be going up. I mean, all the time that they've gone up over the years, the usual time when the prices go up, when there's a war going on. But when England and America basically won the war in Iraq, right? Yeah. Whose are those oil fields? You know, I mean, it's like during the Second World War. You know, it were like after the war, things were divvied out. You know, spoils of war. We shouldn't have to worry about any oil ever again, because if we won a war, those oil fields should be Americans and British. So you shouldn't have to worry about any oil. You know what I mean? If you look at it realistically, but yet you're paying more and more. How does that work? Crooked governments. You know, crooked governments. That's it, innit? You know, need I say more?
Definitely, man. And here in the U.S., we keep giving money to Ukraine to fund the war.
Oh, well, tell me about it. You know, we're doing the same. There's people on the street starving, you know, sort of like, but yet we're getting Ukrainians coming over to this country and we're teaching them how to fight. Why can't they teach them to fight in their own country? Why do they have to bring them over here and teach them to fight? You know what I mean? They've got an army. If you need an army, oh dear me. There's no logic, but people can't see the bullshit, can they? You know what I mean? It's like, that's all it is, isn't it, really, if you think about it? You know what I mean? It's like you just think to yourself, you know, we need a takeover. This country needs a takeover. You know what I mean? We need someone to take it, you know, the bull by the horns and say, right, you know, we're gonna have something different now. We're gonna start looking after his own people, his own country. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I feel better, I might have a go at doing it.
What's that?
When I feel better, I might have a go at taking the job on.
I have to run for office.
Oh dear. I don't know.
Oh man. Yeah, man. There's a lot of stuff going on in my country and your country. There's basically that we are having the same issues right now.
Yeah, well, like I said, you know, it's like there's just, you know, it's like we've got a country, right? Yeah, here, and we've got a British Petroleum and Shell, and we've got oil fields. We've got the North Sea, right? Yeah, full of oil, and they say that we're getting our oil from Russia. We don't get our oil from Russia. The problem is we do get our oil from Netherlands, right? Yeah, and I think from Sweden. But you know why we get it? Because it's ridiculous as this. The reason why we're getting some oil, right, is because we're selling it so cheap to Europe, right? Yeah, we've got to buy oil in from other countries. How ridiculous is that? We're selling our own oil to Europe cheaper than we're selling our own people. Our own people, they don't know how many people have died of the cold. People like pensioners, right? Yeah, are frozen because they haven't got enough money to live, to eat, or to put the eating on. And these are people, right? Yeah, men and women that fought in the First and Second World War and are on the pensions. And if they didn't fight in the First and Second World War, these pensioners have worked all their life, right? Yeah, to live in squalor because my government would rather give Europe handouts and give money to the likes of Ukrainians to fight a war. Absolutely disgusting. Really is. But anyway, so we will just have to see what happens and see if indeed anything has been shot down. You know, like later on tonight. You know, you might have to look and watch Trudeau and his speech, what he gave earlier on. You know, to see just exactly what he says. You know, did they shoot something down in Canada or not? You know, was it a weather balloon? You never know, do you?
No, you never know, man.
Just a bad connection again.
Definitely
No.
appreciate you being on, brother.
Yeah, so yeah, you're quite welcome. You're quite welcome. So yeah. How long does it last this interview now? Is it the end of it now?
Yeah.
Right, no problem.
All right. Appreciate UFO hunter Russ Kellett for being on. Y'all have a good night and God bless.